The Key to the Great Mysteries, Part 1, Religious Mysteries, Problems to Solve. 1. Prove without a doubt that God exists, and explain God in a way that makes sense to everyone. 2. Show that one true religion exists, making it so clear that no one can argue against it. 3. Show the true purpose and meaning behind every mystery of this single, true, and worldwide religion. 4. Turn arguments against faith into reasons that actually support it. 5. Draw a clear line between true religion and false beliefs, superstition, and explain how real miracles and wonders happen. Preliminary considerations. When Count Joseph de Maistre, a deeply passionate thinker, said in despair, "The world is without religion," he sounded like those who recklessly say, "There is no God." It is true that the world lacks the specific kind of religion Count Joseph de Maistre imagined, just as the kind of God most atheists imagine does not exist either. Religion is an idea rooted in a constant, universal truth. Humanity is naturally religious. Therefore, the word religion has a necessary and absolute meaning. Nature itself seals the truth of this idea and raises it to the status of a fundamental principle. The need to believe is closely connected to the need to love. That is why human souls need to share the same hopes and the same love. Believing all alone is just another form of doubting. Mutual trust is what builds religion and creates true faith. Faith isn't invented, forced on people, or set up by political laws. It shows up naturally, like life itself, almost like destiny. The same power that controls nature guides and bounds the realm of faith, far beyond anything humans can predict. You cannot simply imagine heavenly discoveries. You experience them and believe them. Even if a person tries to fight against the mysteries of faith, their mind is captivated by those very mysteries. Often, the stubbornest doubter would feel ashamed to be called a person without religion. Religion plays a much bigger role in real life than people who ignore it or try to live without it like to admit. Everything that raises humans above animals, moral love, devotion, honor, comes from religious feelings. Love for one's country and home, the respect for promises, and cherished memories are things humanity can never give up without becoming completely degraded. These things cannot exist without a belief in something bigger than our temporary lives, with all our everyday troubles, ignorance, and suffering. If endless emptiness was the final end of all our hopes for great things, then living only for the moment, forgetting the past, and ignoring the future would be our only duties. It would mean that thinkers are just ruined animals. Because of this, religious passion is the strongest and most active feeling in humans. It shows up with equal intensity whether people are believing or denying, some stubbornly insisting on a God made in their own image, others denying God because they foolishly think they can understand and destroy the infinite power behind his name with a single thought. Philosophers haven't thought enough about religion as a natural part of human biology. Religion exists completely outside of theological debates. It is a natural ability of the human soul, just like intelligence or love. As long as people exist, religion will exist. Seen this way, religion is simply the deep need for infinite goodness, a need that justifies our desire to improve, inspires selflessness, and keeps virtue and honor from becoming empty words used by the strong to trick the weak. This built-in need to believe is what we can call natural religion. Anything that tries to shrink or limit this belief goes against nature. The core of religion is mystery, because faith begins where the unknown starts, leaving the rest for science to study. Doubt kills faith. Faith feels that God must step in to bridge the massive gap between what is limited and what is infinite. Faith accepts this help with all its heart and mind. Without this act of faith, our religious needs are never satisfied and turn into doubt and sadness. But to keep faith from being foolishness, reason demands that it be guided and organized. By what? By science? No, science cannot do this. By government laws? That is ridiculous. You cannot send police officers to watch people pray. That leaves moral authority. It alone can shape core beliefs and guide how people worship, working alongside government laws, but not taking orders from them. Faith must give people a real, complete, lasting, and undeniable answer to their spiritual needs. To do this, there must be a firm, unchanging set of truths kept safe by trusted leaders. Worship must be meaningful, giving real substance to symbols of belief through absolute faith. When religion is understood this way, it is the only thing that truly satisfies our natural spiritual needs, making it the only religion that is truly natural. This brings us to a clear two-part answer. True natural religion is revealed religion, and true revealed religion is traditional, organized religion that stands far above human arguments through shared faith, hope, and love. Representing this moral authority and making it work through their service, the priesthood is holy and trustworthy, even though humans are prone to mistakes and wrong choices. A priest acting as a priest always represents God. The man's personal flaws or crimes do not change that. When Pope Alexander VI ordained bishops, it was not a criminal putting hands on them, it was the Pope. Pope Alexander VI never ruined or changed the sacred teachings that condemned his own actions, nor did he ruin the holy sacraments that saved others. There have always been lying and wicked men. But in the organized, God-given church, there has never been, and never will be, a bad pope or a bad priest in their official role. Bad and priest are two words that do not belong together. We mentioned Alexander VI, and that name is enough without bringing up other bad memories. Terrible criminals may dishonor themselves because of their holy role, but they cannot ruin the holy role itself. That role stays bright and shining high above human flaws. We said that there is no religion without mysteries, and there are no mysteries without symbols. A symbol is the way we express a mystery. It explains deep, unknown truths using pictures of things we already know. Because symbolic forms represent things beyond scientific reason, they naturally sit outside science. That is why a church leader famously said, "I believe because it seems impossible. Credo quia absurdum." If science claimed to know things it actually doesn't know, it would ruin itself. Science cannot do the work of faith, just as faith cannot make decisions for science. If science tries to rule over faith, it becomes silly. Likewise, if scientific ideas are forced on us as religious rules, that is equally silly in the realm of religion. Believing and knowing are two different things that must never be mixed up. They also shouldn't fight each other. It is impossible to believe the opposite of what you know for sure, and it is impossible to know the opposite of what you firmly believe. To deny or argue against decisions of faith in the name of science shows a lack of understanding of both. The mystery of the Trinity is not a math problem. God becoming human is not a medical event. Salvation is not something historical critics can grade. Science has no power to decide whether people are right or wrong to believe in religious teachings. It can only observe the results of belief. If faith clearly makes people better, and if the need to believe is a natural human fact, then science must accept it and wisely count on faith. Now let us state a massive fact that both faith and science can see, a fact that makes God visible on earth in a way that no one can argue against. This fact is the appearance of a new spirit that entered the world with Christianity, a spirit unknown to ancient times. This divine spirit is more practical than science and more noble than the greatest poetry. It was so new that a whole new name had to be created for it. That name is charity, selfless love, and the spirit we are talking about is the spirit of charity. Before charity, faith bows down and science steps aside. Charity proves through its actions that it is not a dream. It is stronger than all human passions. It overcomes suffering and death. It helps every heart understand God, making eternal hope feel real right now. When living, active charity is present, who would dare to mock it? You can pile up all the clever arguments of doubters, all the criticisms of books that leave behind nothing but emotional ruins, and all the loud anger of revolutions that end in silence and blood. You can add every nightmare the future might bring. Yet, if a simple, humble sister of charity walks in, the world drops its nonsense, its crimes, and its foolish ideas to bow down before this beautiful reality. Charity! A divine word that alone makes God understandable. A word that holds a complete revelation. The spirit of charity, two words that hold the answer to everything and point to the future. What question can these words not answer? What is God to us, if not the spirit of charity? What is true belief, if not charity that avoids useless arguments so it doesn't hurt the trust of gentle souls or break the peace of the world? What is the universal church, if not a community united in charity? It is through charity that the church stays true. It is charity that gives priests their divine purpose. Charity is human duty, the protector of rights, the proof that we live forever, the ultimate goal of life, and the highest form of goodness. The spirit of charity understands all, applies to all, hopes for all, and can accomplish all. It was through charity that Jesus, dying on the cross, took care of his mother by giving her John as a son. Overcoming the terrible pain of his death, he cried out, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit." It was through charity that 12 simple workers from Galilee won over the world. They loved the truth more than their own lives, traveling alone to speak to ordinary people and kings alike. Tested by torture, they stayed faithful. They showed crowds that life continues after death, and they watered the earth with their blood, a warmth that could not be put out because it burned with charity. It was through charity that the early followers created their shared statement of faith. They decided that believing together was better than doubting alone. They built a system based on willing obedience, made noble by charity, where serving others was like ruling as a king. They wrote down a shared faith and hope, placing it under the protection of everyone's charity. Shame on any selfish person who tries to tear this message apart for themselves. This statement of faith is like a safe ark of charity. Anyone who tries to ruin it loses connection to that charity. It is the sacred gift passed down to our children, bought with the blood of those before us. It was through charity that martyrs found comfort in prison and won over their guards and captors. It was in the name of charity that St. Martin protested against executing people over religious disagreements, refusing to side with a ruler who used swords to force faith. It was through charity that so many saints brought comfort to a world hurt by crimes done in the name of religion itself. It was through charity that saints like Vincent de Paul gained the respect of centuries, silencing critics through the quiet power of their good work. Finally, it was through charity that the sacrifice of the cross became the wisdom of nations. Good-hearted people everywhere realized it is far greater to believe alongside those who love and serve others than to sit in doubt with selfish people who only care about their own pleasure.